Yay. Let's turn some lights off up front here. Can we do that, Sierra? Lights up here so we can see. Thanks. I don't know where they are. Oh, great. So, hi, everybody. So, how many of you are brand new beekeepers, or maybe not even?
3 months.
3 months, 2 months. Who doesn't have a hive yet? Awesome. What a great spot you're in. This is great. Okay, I want to get a sense of who I'm talking to tonight. So that's one of my girls, I presume. And she's visiting a gray leaf, a Melokia tomentosa, in my yard. And, you know, for the beginners, for the new bees, each bee performs a series of work tasks according to her age, her age. The young bees clean the hive and they feed the developing bees. And as they age, they take on different roles. And that includes cooling the hive, curing the honey, removing dead bees, and guarding the hive entrance. None of those jobs are, easy jobs. But the last job that a honeybee does is that of foraging. And hey guys. Hey. And they forage for 4 things, and I'll get to that in a second. For most of the year, the worker bees, have a life expectancy of about 6 weeks. They become foragers in the last 10 to 15 days of their life. It is the most dangerous task that the bees undergo. Dangerous? Why is it dangerous? They're just going to flowers. No. It's dangerous because sometimes they're flying really far away. There's birds, there's cars, there's trucks, there's hurricanes, there's lizards, right? There's all kinds of stuff. And what you'll notice is, in some of these pictures, you'll notice that some of the bee wings are kind of tattered, right? And so they give up their entire life, they give their life for the colony, for the community. And it's really profound. Until their wings can't function anymore, and then they just kind of, walk off the front of the edge, and they just walk off. But here's the thing. Honeybees will abscond if there's not enough forage for them. So that's what this is about. This is about having enough forage for your bees in your yard, or across the street, or wherever you want to do it. Okay, so what do they bring? First thing, that didn't correct. Uh-oh. Do I need this?
Yes.
You can't hear me? Yes. 2 things? Oh, that's really loud.
Yeah, we can hear you.
That's the wrong version. Can you give me a second?
No.
Hey, I'm sorry. I want the first second. Give me the second. Okay, let's try it again. Nope, still didn't correct. Okay, so when I first started my beehives a couple years ago, I didn't think about water. Does everybody who has a beehive think about water? Yeah. You do, right? Because you listen and pay attention. I don't listen and pay attention. So, I really didn't pay attention to that. And I would find them in my swimming pool. And I imagine my neighbor finds them in their swimming pools too. And when they're in the pool, unfortunately, usually they're dead. Except sometimes I fish them out. So the honeybees will bring water back to the hive from any available source. They prefer a source located in the sun. Did you know that? No. I didn't know that. Water with a flavor is preferred by the bees over clean, flavorless water. That's kind of like why they like chlorine and mucky waters. They're attracted to swimming pools treated with chemicals, bird baths, and pet watering bowls. This is I have a pointer. This is a plant inside of my bog. Once I put that in, my worries about bee water were over because they get so much water. This, as you recognize, is a 3-gallon bucket with a top and the lids and Bees are so happy. I just couldn't believe it. I haven't been doing that all this time. What's your favorite way? How do you water them?
Bird bath.
Canal, bird bath. Who else? Pond. And
They like the green slime.
what?
Just a glass bowl in the yard.
Glass bowl in the yard. This coming up now is my favorite. Oh no. Water for cooling the hive, cleaning the honey for larvae. Maintain the temperature of the nest throughout the year at 95. Did you know that? You all knew that. I learned so much studying this presentation. It's so cool. Hot. Anyway, in the heat of the summer, they have to cool it down to an internal temperature of 95 degrees. And so to cool it, the foraging bees look for sources of water, and they carry the water back to their hives in their honey gut. And inside the hive, the water is used to cool the hive by worker bees fanning their wings, to evaporate the water and circulate the cool air. Returning foragers pass their what happened? Pass their water. Whoops, sorry. Yeah, the returning bees, foragers pass the water off to the bees waiting to fan the hive, and they'll continue to forage for waters as long as the fanning bees accept the water that they're bringing. I didn't know that either. So that's pretty cool. But this is my favorite bee watering device we're about to see. Let's build one. This is a sculpture at the Oak Creek Center for Urban Horticulture in Corvallis. And the water is piped in here. It comes up, goes into this bamboo pipe, and this has got a few misters on it, which drips into the moss that's at the top. The moss gets soaking wet and drips down into all these cracks and crevices. Can't you imagine bees being so happy on something like that? I really love it. Okay. I don't know which one to press. Okay. So another thing they bring is propolis. You can't tell because anyway, is it incorrect? Anyway, okay, propolis, sticky resin, bee glue, made from saps and gums of trees. The resins seep from the buds of some trees and oozes from the bark and leaves of other trees. That's where they get it. Honeybees gather the propolis and combine it with resin and nectar, creating a mix with wax, pollen, and bee bread. And the bees use it to varnish their hive. Yeah, I'm sorry, having some technical difficulties. So according to Wikipedia, Clusia, right here, which is here pitch apple, we've got Clusia species, and Dale Champia, which is here, are the only known plant genera that produce floral resins specifically to attract pollinators. So they've keyed into the bees' need for resin, but the Frangipani, the plumeria, which is one of the few non-natives that I haven't removed from my yard yet, I discovered is a source for resin for the bees. So I'm leaving it where it is. Isn't that cool? That is totally cool. If you don't have one, I have one that should be pink here for sale.
It's not a necklace. The source comes from the sap.
I couldn't find a lot of specific information on it. It might come from the sap. It might come from the nectar. I don't know. I thought that was really cool. Okay, pollen. This is one of the photographs I did not take that I wish I had. Isn't it beautiful? That's a Christmas palm pollen. The bees go crazy for palm pollen. Did you know that? Palms, palms, palms. They have a great time. And the sudden surge of pollen being brought into the hives stimulates the queens to start laying eggs. And from the nectar, the bees get carbohydrates, but from the pollen, they get their protein. Pollen is really their main source of food. Protein, fats, vitamins, and minerals. And there's a bee bread recipe that doesn't look like it's supposed to look, but there it is, bee bread recipe. Pollen plus saliva plus nectar. Ram it into a little bee hole there, and you cram it with your head and mix it up. What?
And yeast.
Well, that's in their gut. And then coat it with a light film of honey to preserve, and sometimes a light layer of wax. And call me in the morning. Okay, so these are just two of the pollen plants in my yard. Okay, there's supposed to be something happening. There it is. There's the pollen basket on the bee on the wild sage, Lantana involucrata, and there's a pollen basket there on the bastard indigo. I have a lot of plants in my yard for pollen. Most of them I have are native to Florida. When I first moved to Florida, and first moved into this house rather, the first thing I did was find out what was in my yard, and then I took out all the invasives, including the, oh no, Brazilian pepper. Brazilian pepper, while it's a great bee plant, is a very, very, very dangerous plant here in Florida. So if it's in your yard, please take it out. There's other things that can do the job. So now I plant natives, fruit trees, and other edibles, and a few non-invasive exotics, and I'll show you. Okay, so the other thing they get, the fourth thing they get, is nectar. You see the nectar? All that good stuff in there? Is that nectar? Okay. Lee, you're looking like, uh-oh, did I do something wrong? Okay, good. Oops, let's go back. So they're very efficient pollinators because they tend to return to the same flowers each day as long as there's a good nectar flow. They'll visit their crop of choice at the same time each day as flowers tend to release nectar at a particular time. Both nectar and pollen collectors need to visit anywhere from 1 to 500 flowers to collect a full load, and then we'll go back on an average of 10 or 15 trips a day. They are hard-working ladies, I have to tell you. What's that?
No wonder they die after 6 weeks.
Yeah, well, they're working hard. This is my favorite bee plant. This is a gray leaf or tea bush, Melochia tementosa. It's a Florida native. It has year-round blooms, and every morning there are bees on it. Every morning, without fail, all over it. What? You know, you can't eat anything. We can't eat anything from this tree, but that's okay. They can, and not only them. The butterflies also. So I don't have any with me. It's a very difficult plant to propagate, and right now in Florida, a very difficult plant to find. But trust me, I'm on it. I wanted to bring them for you, but it just didn't happen. Okay. Cocoa plum. Who doesn't have a cocoa plum in their yard? Doesn't have. Okay, you should end that today. You should get a cocoa plum.
These are delicious.
The fruit are out of this world. This is my breakfast. It's been my breakfast fruit for the last couple of weeks, and there's always bees on it. Not like the gray leaf, but there's always bees on it. They're always paying attention. I have so many fruit this year. I can't even believe it. This is my non-native that I absolutely adore. This is a dwarf powder puff. You see the bees? I'm sorry?
You have them?
I don't have any here. I'm working on some seedlings at home. I couldn't find any out in the marketplace. What's wonderful about these is that it's not just the first time I noticed them was when I saw hummingbirds on it, and so the bees also were crazy for it. Wild coffee. Who doesn't have wild coffee? Gotta have wild coffee. This is another blooming nut. Last summer, I have a wild coffee in front of my rain barrel. Last summer, I couldn't get to the rain barrel because it was so heavy with flowers, and the bees were almost like a swarm on them, making so much noise. I'm astounded. I keep planting them in my yard, year-round flowering, in the shade. It's not usual to find wonderful plants in the shade, and the bees go there, so that's great. Whoops. And yes, I have wild coffee here, and you should take one or two or three home. Wild sage. This is the plant you saw before. What's interesting about this is these are photographs from January. no pollen basket. And here's the photograph from April, pollen basket. So, is it good for nectar? Uh-huh. Is it good for pollen? Uh-huh. Whoa. Firebush. Everybody has a firebush, right? Can't have too many. What's interesting about the firebush that I didn't know until I started looking at the pictures, if you can see this, sometimes they're in the flower, right? Sometimes they're going into the flower. Can you see my pointer? Sometimes they're going into the side of where the flower used to be. You see that? And here again is, you can't see it on this slide so well, this is a bruise in the bottom of, and so that's where I would imagine the nectar is, because the pollen is all the way out here on the stamens and pistils, and what are they on? Stamens or pistils? Pistils, right? Yeah. Stamens. Who gets it straight? I don't get it straight. Somewhere in there. Anyway, so I learned something new about the firebush. That was very, very interesting. What, West Indian cherry? Does anybody else besides me have one of these? You do. You do. This is a stunning tree. This is native. Yeah, this is a stunning, stunning tree. This December there were 2 major blooms, and I couldn't believe it. It's the first time it's bloomed like this. It's only been in my yard for 3 years. It's the first time it's bloomed like this, but it was almost like walking into a lilac yard. The scent was just so delicious, and the bees were all over it, and not just the bees.
Do you have that one?
I don't have that one. I'm sorry, darling. Also, the endangered Atala butterfly likes this. Come to my house. I don't. It's the first time it's really flowered like this, so I don't have any seedlings yet. I'll keep you posted, though.
Maybe we'll have to do a plant sale fundraiser.
We will have to do that. We talked about that.
Well, where were you at your last fundraiser?
Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Bastard indigo. I just wanted to give you an idea of what this plant looks like. Again, here's the pollen basket. This is it here. This is only its 2nd year in my yard, so I don't really know what it's going to mature like. It likes a little bit of shade, and the Sri Lankan weevils love it like crazy, but the bees get a lot from their flowers, so we'll see how that goes. All of these, unless I say so, are natives. Scorpion tail. You all got scorpion tail, right? Yeah. Scorpion tail grows like a weed. It's a fabulous, fabulous little hard-working plant. And there is a pollen basket on this little guy, little lady, right here. There's always flowers, there's always bees, there's always butterflies. It's a great thing. Okay. My favorite. Sunshine mimosa. This is a knockout. So, in the winter, until all the sun is on it, this is on the north side of my house, until all the sun is on it, it's not so great. But once the sun starts to move up higher and it gets a little more rain and so on, this thing starts popping. And you said you don't have bees on your sunshine mimosa?
I've never seen them on there. They're too busy on the purple queen.
Well, the question is, how much sunshine mimosa is there?
How big is the plant?
How many flowers?
Well, I've seen quite a few puffs on it.
Okay, so what I've been understanding is that for most of these flowers, they want a lot. They're not going to be spending a whole lot of time for onesies, as my mother used to say.
Have you seen a power puff tree?
It's a different tree. It's a little bit like the. I'm coming to some.
Okay.
Well, did I do the dwarf? Yeah, I did the dwarf powder puff earlier, and there is a non-dwarf, but I don't have that. Yeah, and this flowers spring and summer, and how you get it to flower again some more is you mow it. and it reflowers. Pollen basket, big pollen. Okay, beach dune sunflower. Love this. The bees love it. A lot of native bees love it. I see probably 3-to-1 native bee, maybe 4-to-1 native bees to honeybees on it. But the thing is, I like providing a variety of food, because specifically with the pollen, if they're not getting, if not all pollen is the same, and so all their nutrients aren't the same, and so the more variety they have, just like us, the better and healthier their diet will be. Okay, pineland heliotrope. I just have a little bush of this. It's a little ground cover. I don't have any here with me tonight, and but there's always a bee on it every day. And so I like that. And as it grows, it's still very young, as it grows, there'll be more, I'm sure. Coral honeysuckle. I love this. Starting here, climbing in, getting in. I mean, they're amazing critters, our little bee friends. And I think they're going in for for nectar. So I haven't seen it on their pollen baskets. I have that here if you want. This is a great climber on a trellis. It's a little heavy for a trellis. I would put it more on a chain link fence or on the ground. A lot of people use it as ground cover. Is there a question? Yellow leaf cup or bear claw. This is a new plant for me, but the bees really like it. It's something that grows in the shade. So we like things that grow in the shade, that have color. And we'll see. Last time when it got a little leggy, I cut it down and it came right back up. So we'll see how that goes.
Is it the same thing as Mexican clover?
It's not the same thing as Mexican
sunflower?
No, this is native. Mexican sunflower is invasive. So this wants to be here. Broccoli. Who lets their broccoli go to seed? Go to flower? The bees go crazy for it. Stevia. Oops, didn't want to do that. Go back. Stevia. Here. And African basil year-round. African basil is a purple basil. They're all purple, but it's sterile, so it doesn't go to seed. So if you want to reproduce it, you've got to make cuttings of it. But I keep them under my mango trees because my mangoes get watered, and so it keeps them. Nothing else in my yard gets watered except by me. My fruit trees get watered, so it's always looking great, and there's always bees on it, just like the gray leaf. Always bees on the basil. This basil is really nice. It's not our, the basil that we use that gets bolted and everything. This is just fabulous. It stays healthy looking all the time. Grumachama. Does anybody have one? Yeah. There's my fruit council people. This is not native. This is native to Brazil. And here they are. The cherries are as close as you're going to get to Bing cherries here in Florida. Hands down better than Suriname cherry or any of the other cherries. I took out all the Suriname cherry when I moved into my house because it's invasive. But I love this tree. And I've got somebody's nesting in it right now. Pollen basket.
How big is that?
How big is it? Now it's about 8 feet. Some people make hedges with this. It makes a great jelly. Some people make long hedgerows with it. Personally, I'm of the opinion, though, that hedgerows should be a little bit varied and not just one thing. If you look at the ficus hedges all around, you get a ficus whitefly and you're done with. I have put some cocoa plum in a row, though. I can't resist them. But
We'll see, we have certain cherries
Oh, totally.
And a cocoa form.
Absolutely. Get rid of those things. I mean, they're a lot of fun. They're a little acid and tart tasting, but these are better. Biscuit. Starfruit.
Sierra Nevada, is that the same thing as Barbados, or is Barbados?
Barbados is different. Not a native, but also a good, non-invasive cherry. Yeah. Starfruit.
You mean carambola, please?
Carambola. Averhoa carambola. And if they're not eating the nectar from the flowers,
Sucking the juice.
they're sucking the juice from the fruit. That is so cool. And I leave them there for them. My starfruit tree is right in front of my hives. So when I had my very first swarm that I caught, it was in my starfruit tree, about yay high, deep in. And somebody helped me over the telephone. Jim help, you help, walk me through how to catch a swarm. Oh, it was so exciting. I still have those bees. And jaboticaba, my other personal favorite fruit. Jaboticabas are also from Brazil. They like a lot of water and sun. They take 8 to 10 years before they flower or fruit at all. That's when they start. But as they mature, there will be fruit covering all of these branches, all of these trunks. I prune them. They're very shallow rooted. I prune them around hurricane season to open it up so the wind can pass through instead of knocking it down like a sail. I've seen them go down. Not in my yard, knock wood. But, and this also is a year-round periodic bloomer. So it doesn't bloom all the time, but...
I've seen the trunk completely white, looking like cotton candy.
And bees on it.
Oh, yeah.
And plenty of bees on it. And I hang CDs from my branches after that because I don't want the birds to take every last fruit.
Oh, yeah, I got the...
And it worked.
Froze it, yeah.
It worked.
Let's try that.
I haven't put it on mangoes. This is my first year really having a flood of mangoes, so I don't really know.
How do you keep the squirrels out of it?
Pellet gun.
Yeah. Or a greyhound.
Dogs.
Well, dogs.
Greyhounds. I've watched my greyhound eat a squirrel. It was not pretty. Ugh. Anyway, I won't go into it. What?
The squirrel never bothered you again?
Oh no, the squirrels like they play with them. It's really terrible. So I did a lot of looking up. Like, there's so many people who have so many ideas about what are bee plants here in Florida, in Georgia. This is Malcolm's piece. This was a great piece. The Xerces Society has Pollinator Conservation Resource Center. If you haven't looked at their website, it's really very interesting. This is out of Georgia, the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. Lots of different plants and when they flower and provide. And our own, this is Jamie Ellis. I don't know why these things aren't sharp. Let's see. Whatever. Can't read them anyway. They list Spanish needles in here. Of course, you all have Spanish needles. Whether you want them or not, they're on the roadside. Those little white flowers with the yellow centers. Those are a favored bee plant. They love that.
They're considered they're a high nectar source for bees.
They are. They're a high nectar critical source for bees. And so I periodically pull them all out, but of course more come back in, and I give some areas in the yard to the Spanish needles. Because I don't want them every place.
Whack them with the weed whacker, they come right back.
Yeah, I don't do that. Dahoon hollies are listed in here also, and I have some of those liners. Dahoon holly is beautiful. It's that tree that you see sometimes in medians, and it's got red berries on it. The thing with Dahoon hollies is it takes a pair, a male and a female, otherwise you don't get red berries. So, just so you know. And Brazilian pepper is listed here. I hate that it's listed here. We all know that bees go to the Brazilian holly because the honey tastes like it, but we should really pull those things out. One of the best sources, if you're interested, is just do a Google search for Julia Morton's honey plants of South Florida. She's got 22 pages of plans for Florida. Definitely the most comprehensive list I've seen. Her Fruits of the Warm Climate is a Bible of fruit trees that grow in warm climates for rare plant people. And this is a great, great list. You should. I think Sierra sent it out.
And you can't find that book anymore.
Which the Fruits of Warm Climate? I know. I've got one.
I've got one.
Her list includes wax myrtle, which I brought today, and some saw palmetto, which I really wanted to bring some, but I couldn't find any, and beautyberry. Although I have beautyberry, lots of them. I occasionally, I occasionally see a bee on one, but not very often. Does anybody ever see bees on their beautyberry? A lot? Yeah. Yeah, they visit everything, which is good. We want that. We want to provide a whole party for them. This is a really interesting resource. This is the treasurecoastbeekeepers.org website. They have a wonderful list of trees, shrubs, and vines, flowers, and herbs. Oh, yeah, thank you. Let me do that first. Yeah. Beautyberry, black mangrove, blackberry, blueberry, buttonwood. Buttonwood is a nice plant. Does anybody have any green or silver buttonwood? Do you see bees on it? You do? Yeah, that's great.
In the early spring, it's one of the first things.
Yeah, awesome. Cabbage palm, of course, cocoa plum, coral honeysuckle, elderberry. I don't have that. Fiddlewood. Anybody else have fiddlewood? Fiddlewood's another beautiful smelling plant, but don't make them. If you decide to get one, I don't have them here. But if you decide to put one in, don't make the mistake I did and put in 4 of them because they're so sweet smelling. Put in 1 because there's a moth that defoliates them, and the more trees you have, the longer the moths will hang around because they'll just go from one to the next to the next to the next and back again. It's really maddening. So I took out 3, and I have 1. Fiddlewood, firebush, Florida privet. I have most of these in my yard. Marlberry, partridge pea, passion vines. There is one. Is it still here? Did somebody take the passion vine? Oh, somebody. Oh, you did. Okay. It doesn't matter which passion vine it is. I don't have the large passion vine in my yard. I have this small corky stem passion vine that the butterflies like, but the bees still go to the flowers. They find them. They're tiny, and the bees are always there. Let's see what else is here. Is peach and plum trees, red maple. I have one. I planted one across the street on the berm. Oh well. You know, I didn't have room for it in my yard. Who's government here? Uh-oh. You are. Don't tell, please. I think the berm is a good place to plant things. Saw palmetto, sea grape, swamp dog, sweet acacia, wild coffee, willow. My willow is just willow bustic actually is just flowering, and bees are happy with it. Yaupon holly, and then the asters, of course. This is a milkweed, but it's the non-native version. Not the best plant to plant. We plant them. But we like seeing the monarchs, but much better to have native milkweed. I've started some native milkweeds in one section of my yard, hopefully to get them going, and then by the time they're established, I'll pull out all the others. What some people say that it tends to keep the bees, keep the monarchs here instead of them continuing their migration, because they think they've arrived when they find this. So there's a lot of controversy about this plant. Then there's the coreopsis. The tick seed is our state flower. Go figure. It is a wonderful little plant, and I see occasional bees on it. Not a whole lot, but some. And it's nice. It brings color and does its thing, goes to seed. pops up all over the place. I love it. I have some here. And then there's, of course, Gaillardia, blanket flower, which also self-seeds. And I always see bees. Again, more natives than honeybees, but I always see honeybees on it. Okay. Let's see what else I didn't say that's here important. Rouge plant. Rouge plant is an interesting little weed plant. Does anybody have it? Yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful. The bees go on it occasionally. It's got a little red berry. It's called rouge plant because people, women, I guess, or some men, I don't know, used to take the berry and, pink up their cheeks. Right, Lee? Yeah. Only kidding, Lee. What else? The powder puff we got, ironweed, goldenrod. Oh, my goldenrods are popping up now. I can't wait because I know that they're going to be very, very happy. The bees love them. Okay, let's go. We're almost at the end. Oh, we're at the end. So the end, the beginning. So plant in your yard. It doesn't matter what you plant. Just start adding more and more and more because, you want to keep them home. It's much, much better to keep them home than to have them have to go, 3 miles down the road to the M&M factory or whatever. And let me just tell you what these flowers are. This is a blue, doesn't look so blue here, but it's a blue Jacamantia. It's a wonderful native vine. Does better in the winter, so there's a lot of winter activity for the bees. That's great. This one is a climbing aster. Likes to climb. What can I say? It's fabulous. This is one of my favorites. This is a Simpson stopper. The bees love the Simpson stopper. They love the stoppers. So if you don't have stoppers in your yard, stoppers are another great way to make a wonderful hedge. Don't plant them too close together. Give them room to diversify. Okay, are there any questions?
Whoa.
Thank you for your kind patience. Yeah.
The flower is not producing a seed. Is it producing pollen?
If it's not producing a seed, I would think that it's not producing pollen. But that's not necessarily so, because we have the basil, right, that's sterile. I don't know what makes it, why it's sterile, but they get pollen from that. So it's a really good question. Are we still recording? I'll have to answer this. Yeah, Mark.
Out of all of the flowers you've seen, which would you recommend, I guess, as number one as far as being drought tolerant?
Cocoa plum. Cocoa plum. Most of these natives, let me see what I have here. Most of these natives are very drought tolerant. They all like to get watered in, so you got to take care of it until it's established. The firebush does great. All of these are drought tolerant. Everything wants water, even bees and us. So don't push it. If you see it wilting, give it a little bit of water. But all of these are pretty drought tolerant. You have another question?
Yeah, why bees hate mango?
They don't hate mango. They're not interested. But I'll tell you.
Because you can see flies.
Not everything pollinates everything. I wanted to trick them. And here's what I did. I put all of my tropical my wild African basil under my mango trees. And some of them are growing as tall as my mango flowers and my mangoes. I saw a bee on the mango, but you know where I saw it? Where the stalk fell off, the bee was around in there, so it was looking for something else, maybe resin, maybe resin, maybe resin.
Why flies? All types of flies go. Bees.
Not everybody loves everybody. What can I say?
It also could be because the mango is also related to poison ivy.
Oh, but they like poison. Bees go to poison ivy.
Oh, do they?
And poison sumac, and yeah.
Okay.
There's a plant, and it's commonly called Thailand petunia. Is that a native?
Pineland petunia. There is a pineland petunia. It's Petunia caroliniensis or something. It's got a nice cup blue purplish flower, beautiful color. Not in my yard. It's all over my yard. They never go. There is not the Mexican one though.
No, not Mexican.
Okay, it could be. Take a picture of it and send it to me, and let me see, because that's really interesting. Bees will make choices. So in my yard, they've got something else that they prefer, or your dirt is better than mine, or my whatever it is. There's incredible variety. Anybody else? Anybody else? No.
Pollinator for the passion fruit. I have passion fruit vines growing all along my fence, and I got lots of flowers. They're all dropping off.
Well, you need to
And-
pollinate.
You butterflies.
They don't, I have tons of them too, and I have to hand pollinate all of them.
Really? Yeah, my bees are all over mine.
And
Sometimes they go out there and there's bees on them, but for the most part,
are there caterpillars on them?
I really haven't looked.
Okay, so are you having butterflies? Are you having butterflies in your yard?
I don't really have a lot of butterflies in my yard.
Okay, so with passion vine, you should have butterflies, and there's 3 butterflies you should have. You should have the zebra longwing, the Julia, and the other one whose name I can never remember. No, the what? Oh, I can't remember the other one. Gulf fritillary. Thank you. And so they love passion vine, and they pollinate it because I get seeds. Well, maybe my bees are doing it, but I get fruit all the time.
I get very little fruit. And I got a huge vine that's growing up into a ficus tree. It's growing all along my front hedge.
Is it?
Hedge for my fence.
It's not native. It's one of the.
There are a lot of different kinds. I have like 6 different kinds in my yard, and only 2 of them produce.
Well, this one gives me fruit like this when it gives it to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it yellow or purple?
It's yellow.
Yeah, that's delicious fruit.
The seed originally came from Venezuela.
Oh yeah. Would you email me and I'll find out?
Okay.
But email me and then I'll find out the answer. I know who will know. Yeah.
Does the wild coffee produce coffee? Coffee beans?
It produces coffee beans, but you don't want to. It's not like the Arabica.
Tell them the name of the name of it.
Oh yeah. The Psychotria nervosa is the Latin name for coffee, wild coffee. Psychotria nervosa.
I'll drink to that.
Anybody else? Anything else? So if you want anything, don't make me take them all home, but take some home, okay? They're priced pretty reasonably. Thank you.